when I gave up everything to fly to another country. My girlfriend, pretending to have amnesia, was still coldly warning me. Please pack your things and move out of our house as soon as possible. My boyfriend is moving in soon. He'll be jealous if he sees you. Without looking up, I simply said indifferently, "Okay." She didn't suspect a thing and continued her acting. Also, please stop lying about being my boyfriend. My boyfriend, Sinian, would be heartbroken. I paused for a moment, then nodded obediently. I didn't explain to her that I was changing my name to study abroad, and wouldn't have a single shred of longing for her. Since she loves playing games, I'll play along with her until the end. After all, she wants to get rid of me. So let's just never see each other again. By the time I finished changing my name and came out, it was already dark. I hailed a taxi and used my phone to search for flights. The name change application was submitted, but it would take another month for review. So I booked a flight to Melbourne for the 1st of next month. Then messaged the agency to accept the offer. That night, I slept more soundly than I had in the past month. Early the next morning, I got up and had breakfast. Then I cleared out everything related to Mengyao. The gifts she gave me, the couple's clothes we bought together, the love letters from our student days, all were thrown into the trash can. While I was busy, a global limited edition supercar suddenly stopped by the roadside. I turned around and saw Mengyao. She got out of the car arrogantly, arm in arm with a man. Even though she saw me, she didn't avoid me. I knew the reason she wasn't avoiding me was because she was sure I'd forgive her actions during her amnesia. From the start, Mengyao didn't acknowledge my status as her boyfriend, and even had people throw my things out of the villa. I thought I would end up homeless. But then the next-door neighbor suddenly contacted me, saying they were going abroad, and rented the place to me at the lowest price. I thought I was lucky back then. Now it seems it was just a play she directed and starred in. She was afraid I'd actually leave, so she used this method to keep me around. Thinking back to this month of being deceived, I just find it ridiculous. I don't care what act she's putting on today. I turned and lifted the last box and tossed it into the trash. Mengyao, who happened to be passing by, glanced over, seeing the things I threw away. Her expression turned cold. "Why did you throw all this stuff away?" I glanced at her. My tone was indifferent. "Didn't you lose your memory? How do you remember these things?" Mengyao then realized she had let it slip. She quickly adjusted her expression, pretending not to care. "I was just asking. How could I possibly remember? The past is the past. The present is the present. Now I only like Sinian. After all, when I had the car accident in Nanju, only he came to take care of me. The accident, even the amnesia, was an act. Where was there any car accident?" I curled my lips slightly, looking at the man clinging to her. His peach blossom eyes were full of smugness. An unfamiliar face. Probably Mengyao's favorite bed partner during this time. Which is why she brought him back with such fanfare. I didn't want to waste any more words on her. I just gave a hum and turned to enter the villa, looking at my back as I walked away without looking back. Mengyao eyelids flickered. She brought someone back. Shouldn't Shiyan be really jealous? Why is he so calm? Mengyao realized something was wrong, but she didn't chase after me to explain. She quietly watched me disappear behind the door. 8 o'clock. The doorbell suddenly rang. I put down the takeout bag in my hand and got up to open the door. It was the man Mengyao had just brought back. He raised his hand and waved. Although there was a smile on his face, it didn't reach his eyes. "Hello. I'm Lu Sinian. I'll be staying at my girlfriend's place for a while. Since we're neighbors, would it be convenient to add your contact?" "No need." I refused without a second thought. Turning to leave, Lu Sinian snatched the phone from my hand, quickly opened WeChat, and added me as a friend. Looking at my darkening expression, he handed the phone back with a grin. His tone was light. "Let's just be friends. We'll be seeing each other often. By the way, do you have any umbrellas at home? The ones I bought today are all used up. Could you lend me a few?" A flash of paleness crossed my face. The hand taking back the phone trembled slightly. No, but Lu Sinian wouldn't let it go. The mockery in his eyes was undisguised. "Right. I asked the wrong person. Mengyao doesn't want you anymore. How could you have any?" I knew he was intentionally provoking me. I didn't want to deal with him. I pulled the door to close it. Lu Sinian grabbed the door handle and took the opportunity to collapse onto the ground. His eyes instantly turned red. "Brother, I know you don't want to see me, but I just came to borrow some seasoning. Just to make dinner for Mengyao. If you won't lend it, then you won't. Why do you have to get physical?" Seeing Lu Sinian suddenly put on this act, my heart skipped a beat. Before I could react, Mengyao, who had arrived unnoticed, rushed up the steps and quickly helped him to the side. She looked at me coldly. Her tone carried a hidden anger. "Sinian has no grudge against you. Why are you being so unreasonable? He is my boyfriend now. Please be more polite to him." After saying this, without even looking at my expression, she helped him and left straight away. Every word echoed in my ears, making me unconsciously clench my fists. I stared fixedly as their backs disappeared into the twilight. Expressionlessly, I raised my hand. With a bang, the door closed. In the early hours of the morning, the phone on the nightstand began to vibrate. Woken up, I subconsciously pressed the answer button. The next second, the screen jumped, looking at the unsightly images captured by the shaky camera. I woke up completely, after realizing what the person on the other end was doing. I froze like a statue. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore, and pressed the end call button. In those sleepy eyes, now filled with bloodshot veins. For the next few days, I stayed indoors, until the day of my best friend's wedding. I finally gathered my feelings and went out. Arriving at the hotel, before the wedding started, I delivered the pre-prepared gift. The two of us chatted for a while. My friend took my hand. "Shiyan, I sent an invitation to Mengyao. She agreed to come. I'll go pick her up in a bit. Talk to her more. Maybe she can remember the proposal scene with you and recover her memory." I remained silent for a moment, seeing the smile slowly fade from my face. A flicker of worry crossed my friend's eyes. "What's wrong? Don't want to keep holding on." Just as I was about to answer, I saw Mengyao appear at the door with Lu Sinian. My friend looked over, seeing them with their arms around each other. He turned red with anger. He rushed over to teach them a lesson. I quickly held him back, my voice full of exhaustion. "Forget it. In a little while, it will all be completely over." My friend didn't understand what I meant. Just as he was about to ask, The best man came over. The wedding is about to start. After much persuasion, I finally convinced my friend to go up on stage, listening to the wedding march playing in the hall. I took a deep breath. Returning to the hall, the guests had all taken their seats. Only the seat next to Mengyao remained empty. After hesitating for a moment, I still went over and sat down. During the wedding, Lu Sinian kept clinging to Mengyao, asking her to help him with the food. She responded to every word, serving him fish, blowing on the soup. Extremely considerate. Even when he fed her desserts, he had already eaten. She ate them clean without hesitation, watching the two of them being so intimate. I looked away, looking towards the center of the stage. I couldn't eat and didn't touch my chopsticks. A friend's mother beside me put some food on my plate, telling me to eat more. I didn't want to reject the aunt's kindness, so I took a dumpling. Mengyao, who was beside me, saw this and reached out to take the dumpling away. Do you want to die? This is seafood filling. You're allergic, you can't eat it. Watching the dumpling roll a few times on the floor, I lifted my head and gave her a deep look. Only then did Mengyao realize what happened, explaining in an unnatural tone. The aunt at home never buys seafood. Explaining in an unnatural tone. The aunt at home never buys seafood. I've told her several times. According to her, after speaking, she didn't dare look at my expression. She turned around and picked up some shrimp. Lu Sinian leaned into her ear and whispered something. Mengyao put down what she was holding and left with him. I didn't care where they went until the bouquet-tossing ceremony ended. I got up and went to the restroom. Just as I reached the door, I heard strange sounds coming from inside. I stopped in my tracks, holding my breath. After a few minutes of silence, a gentle male voice came from the innermost stall. Why are you being so wild? Coming to a wedding? Wearing these kinds of clothes? You don't like it. After a muffled sound, followed by a light chuckle. Of course I like it. I lifted my head, looking at the sign above my head. My fingers dug deep into my palms. Continuous footsteps sounded in the corridor. The restroom became quiet again. I took one last look at that closed stall. With red eyes, I turned and left. After the wedding ended, after saying goodbye to my friends, I went downstairs. As soon as I stepped out of the elevator, I saw that very familiar sports car parked on the road. I pretended not to see it. Just as I was about to hail a taxi, Lu Sinian, appearing out of nowhere, grabbed my wrist. Mengyao had something at the company and left first. She left the car with me. We live close by. Let me give you a lift. Without thinking, I refused. But Lu Sinian didn't care. He pushed me into the passenger seat, locked the door and stepped on the gas. He drove very fast. I could only fasten my seatbelt. Along the way, Lu Sinian used small talk as an excuse, constantly bragging openly and subtly. You've known for a long time that Mengyao is pretending to have amnesia, right? Why don't you dare to speak out? My eyes froze for a moment. With a cold expression. None of your business. How is it none of my business? I also want to stand by Mengyao's side openly and become her fiancé. Although she doesn't feel that way right now. But you know, she loves my body. She'll fall for me sooner or later. Do you believe it? I ignored him completely, looking at the scenery outside the window. Seeing that I didn't respond, Lu Sinian became irritated and provoked me a few more times. I simply closed my eyes. acting as if he didn't exist. This cold attitude made Lu Sinian very unhappy. He looked at the turn in the road ahead. He made a sudden decision. He jerked the steering wheel and crashed. Under the violent impact, my whole body lunged forward uncontrollably. As I opened my eyes, I saw glass shards flying toward me. Subconsciously, I raised my hands. To protect myself, crimson blood dripped profusely from my arm. I hit the side door. A sharp pain shot through my head. Everything went black, and I lost consciousness. I don't know how much time passed. A burst of noise sounded in my ears. Both patients' hands need immediate surgery. But currently, there is only one surgeon available in the hospital. The patient who doesn't receive timely treatment may risk disability. Who should we save? Who do you want to save? Hearing this, I forced myself to wake up, squeezing out 2 words from my throat. Mengyao. I still need to play the piano. My hand cannot have any problems. That warm little hand that was originally holding my left hand, after hearing the sound, suddenly let go. Just as I opened my eyes, I caught a flash of panic on Mengyao's face. She placed her hand on Lu Sinian's shoulder, spoke in a low voice. Save Sinian first. I don't know how much time had passed. As I kept falling in the darkness, I finally regained some consciousness. Perhaps due to the anesthesia, I temporarily couldn't open my eyes. I could only hear some noises around me. It was a conversation between 2 people. The voices were very familiar. Sister Mengyao, you've made such a big scene. How are you going to settle this? Gu Shiyan's hand and life are important. And you still save Lu Sinian first. Do you want to kill him? How could I possibly want to kill Shiyan? It's just that he happened to wake up. If I agreed to save him first, wouldn't the act of pretending to have amnesia be exposed? There are still 20-some days left. I just want to play a bit more. I won't let anything happen to Shiyan. This is nothing. Didn't you hear the doctor? 1 minute later into the operating room, and Gu Shiyan's hand would be completely ruined. If he wakes up and finds out the truth, there will be no more possibility between you and him. The person holding my hand seemed very nervous upon hearing this. Their palms were sweating. 9 minutes later, a few minutes later, she placed a kiss on my forehead. Her tone was full of certainty. He won't know. I've already arranged everything. In another 23 days, the doctor will announce that I've recovered my memory. By then, everything will be just like before. After a long sigh, someone left the room. The other remained by my bedside, murmuring softly, Shiyan, our wedding is coming soon. I've already ordered the wedding rings. The day I recover my memory, you'll be able to see them. After we get our marriage certificate, I'll take you to see the aurora, okay? Do you still remember our 3rd anniversary? The wish you made upon a shooting star. When you said you wanted to be with me forever. I was truly so happy. I also want to grow old with you. The effect of the anesthesia slowly faded. I remembered this chatterbox. Is my fiancée. Mengyao. She seemed to care for me a lot. Every half hour she would call the doctor to check on me. She would also thoughtfully feed me water, tuck in the corners of my blanket, staying by my side without leaving for a step, until I fully woke up. All the tenderness poured onto me was like a tide, quickly receding, watching her figure as she avoidantly left the ward. A hint of irony flashed in my eyes. I picked up my phone and checked the time, only to realize I had been unconscious for 3 days. The messages were still only ads and phone bill notifications. Praying secretly, hoping the name change process would be completed soon. For a long time after that, Mengyao did not appear. But Lu Sinian sent many messages every day. Various photos of their dates and showing off their love. I didn't open a single one. I just set them to Do Not Disturb. A few days later, I completed the discharge procedures. Just as I reached the hospital entrance, I happened to run into a senior from college who once pursued me. The two of us exchanged a few pleasantries. Just as I was chatting happily, I was suddenly pulled away by Mengyao, who appeared from nowhere. Her face was so gloomy it could drip water, looking at me with eyes full of gloom. Her voice full of jealousy. Who allowed you to be so close to her? I pulled my hand away and glanced at her. With a hint of irony, aren't you suffering from amnesia? And no longer acknowledge that I'm your boyfriend? Who I like to chat with is who I'll chat with. It shouldn't be your place to manage. After saying that, I didn't care about her reaction. Hailed a taxi and left. Mengyao choked into silence. Could only watch me leave blankly. After resting for a while, I slowly recovered. In my spare time, I roughly calculated the expenses for going abroad. The amount was quite large. Coincidentally, an old client introduced a big deal. I had nothing better to do, so I took it. When I arrived at the scene, I found out it was a birthday party. When I saw Mengyao appear holding Lu Sinian's hand, I was completely stunned. A bad feeling welled up inside me. But I had already accepted the deposit. I could only suppress this strange feeling, and took out my camera. Seeing me, Lu Sinian immediately straightened his tie and walked up with a smile. I'll be in your hands. Try to take the photos from a low angle, and lower the brightness a bit. When I go on stage later, zoom in a bit. Following this long list of demands, I took hundreds of photos, but Lu Sinian was still dissatisfied. He insisted that I reshoot. I patiently shot 3 or 4 more versions. My injured wrist began to ache again. Lu Sinian took a look, a mocking expression appearing on his face. How did they turn out like this? Oh, great photographer. It seems you're not as talented as the rumors say. Let's just use the first version. At least a few of those are tolerable. People around them covered their mouths and giggled. I rubbed my knees, numb from crouching, and forced myself to stand up. I gave a soft hum of acknowledgement. Lu Sinian looked smug and walked to Mengyao's side. Then he turned back and beckoned to me, bossing me around. Come over and take a few couple photos of me and my girlfriend. My eyes froze for a moment, then quickly returned to a cold expression. I raised my camera, aimed the lens at the two of them, and pressed the shutter. Lu Sinian struck countless poses, and finally leaned down to kiss Mengyao. Suddenly, the whole room erupted in screams. Everyone was shipping them, hearing the cheering. Mengyao's body stiffened for a moment. She released her hand from Lu Sinian's waist and looked at me nervously. I had no reaction, keeping my head down while scrolling through the photos, appearing completely indifferent to what had just happened. At 11 p.m., the party that had lasted 4 hours finally came to an end. I put the camera back in my bag, took out a tissue, and wiped my clothes, where Lu Sinian had accidentally knocked over some cake. Suddenly, footsteps echoed in the empty hall. I looked up and saw Lu Sinian smiling, walking straight toward me. Thanks for your hard work tonight. Or maybe magnesium deficient. I have another set of photos I want you to help me with. The price can be doubled. Do you take it? Doubled, I hesitated for a moment, but eventually nodded in agreement. Lu Sinian led me straight up to the hotel. We first decided on the angles and the content, just as I set up the camera in the corner. There was a knock at the door. Lu Sinian wasn't in a hurry to open it. He gave me a meaningful smile. It's about to start. Remember to capture everything. As he spoke, he drew the curtains, covering the corner, leaving only a tiny gap for the camera. I curled up in the narrow space, crouching low as the footsteps drew closer. Under the suggestive lighting, Lu Sinian walked in slowly, pulling a woman by her tie. Their bodies were pressed tightly together. Looking at the lens, Mengyao was kissing Lu Sinian passionately. My hand on the tripod suddenly clenched. She didn't know that I was in the room. The surging lust in the room grew more intense. Listening to those continuous sounds, I became almost numb. Even breathing became difficult. Time felt incredibly slow at that moment. 3 a.m. The noise in the room stopped. The sound of the shower started. I pulled back the curtain, dragging my numb legs out. I stepped over the clothes scattered on the floor, placed the memory card on the table, and opened the door. The streets were empty in the early morning. I wandered aimlessly alone. I don't know how long I walked, but as I lifted my dark-circled eyes, I realized I had unconsciously returned to my high school. Some long-buried memories rushed back. Mengyao pulling me along the 1,000-meter track. The small auditorium filled with roses for my birthday. The flag-raising platform, where she confessed her love in front of the whole school. Everything was exactly as it used to be. But for me, standing there, my feelings were entirely different. I walked to the teaching building and ran into the dean who had just arrived for work. Because of Mengyao's high-profile pursuit in the past, almost all the teachers recognized me. The director greeted me with a smile. "Gu Shiyan, why have you suddenly come back to school? Where is Mengyao? I heard a while ago that you two got engaged. Are you here to hand out invitations?" I forced a smile and changed the subject. It's been too long since I've been back. I just happened to be passing by, so I thought I'd visit the teachers. The two of us chatted as we walked, talking about many things from the past. Before we parted, the director seemed to remember something. From the office cabinet, he took out a yellow diary and handed it to me. This was from a self-study class back then, when I was checking discipline. Confiscated from Mengyao's hand. Since your big day is coming up, I'll return it to you. I was stunned for a moment. I took it and bowed to the teacher. On the way back, I opened the diary and saw Mengyao's elegant handwriting. On every page, there was the same name, detailing a young girl's feelings while pursuing a boy. As I kept reading, my nose tingled, and tears flowed uncontrollably. Drop by drop, both a remembrance of the past and a kind of farewell. When the car stopped at the villa entrance, I had already calmed my turbulent emotions. I closed the diary, opened the car door, and ran right into Mengyao, who had just returned, looking at the crimson hickeys on her neck and shoulder. I remembered what happened last night and looked away. Mengyao noticed I seemed to have been crying and frowned, just as she was wondering how to ask discreetly. Lu Sinian, who was holding her, also saw my red eyes and smiled playfully. "Thanks for your hard work yesterday. The money has already been transferred. I'm very satisfied with what was filmed. You must be very satisfied too, right?" Hearing his suggestive tone, Mengyao's heart skipped a beat. Satisfied with what? The birthday photos from the first half of the night. Otherwise, what else could it be from the second half? Seeing his unfiltered way of speaking, Mengyao's heart sank, and she quickly covered his mouth. I ignored them and turned to walk into the house. Passing by the trash can, I casually tossed the diary inside. Those youthful years carrying love and sincerity were completely buried. Before leaving, I sent a message to the landlord, saying I wouldn't be renewing the lease. The landlord kept asking why I was moving. I made up a random excuse. The landlord said I could have a few more days. Let me stay until the middle of next month. I knew Mengyao was the one behind this. She wanted me to stay a few more days, then pretend to recover her memory, so she could bring me back home. I didn't expose their plan, and agreed to it. 3 days before leaving, I received a call from an unknown number. "Mr. Ye. Hello, I am the manager of the Hilton Hotel. The hotel where you previously booked your engagement banquet. It's like this. Your fiancée previously booked our main hall, saying she wanted to hold the wedding banquet here the day after tomorrow. But we haven't been able to contact her recently. There are some details that need to be verified and decided. Are you free to come over and chat?" I originally wanted to refuse, but when I heard the date, the day after tomorrow, my eyelashes trembled slightly. January 1st, the day Mengyao decided to recover her memory, and also the day I planned to leave. I agreed. I took a taxi there. As soon as I entered the hall and saw the decorations, I fell silent. From the flowers to the ornaments, everything was identical to the setting when Mengyao proposed to me. Exactly the same, being in the midst of it. For a moment, I couldn't tell what day or night it was. The manager who accompanied me was about to introduce things, but received a phone call and left for a moment. I walked to the second floor alone. Looking down, I couldn't help but recall Mengyao holding flowers and embracing me. The scene when she promised to love only me for a lifetime. At that time, I was full of anticipation for my upcoming married life. Who would have thought that after 3 months, everything had vanished like smoke, become nothing. In the midst of the emotion, the door was suddenly pushed open. Mengyao, in a long dress, walked in holding a bouquet of flowers. Lu Sinian following behind her, seeing the dreamy scene before them, couldn't help but gasp. A hint of anticipation flashed in his eyes. "Mengyao, why did you bring me here?" Mengyao snapped her fingers with a look of triumph. "This place is where I held the engagement party with Shiyan. The day after tomorrow, I plan to have a few friends bring Shiyan here. Then I can pretend to be moved by the scene and naturally remember the past. Bringing you here today is to rehearse it once. You'll play the part of Shiyan to see if there are any loopholes." As she spoke, she pushed Lu Sinian to the center of the stage and began to act. A huge pillar blocked me completely. I watched quietly, the two of them acting with such heartfelt emotion. My eyes flickered slightly. I have to admit, Mengyao is indeed very talented at acting. If I were completely unaware of all this, coming here in 3 days, I might actually be fooled by her. Luckily, I'm not that unlucky. The progress downstairs had already reached the forgiveness stage. Lu Sinian leaned down and kissed Mengyao. The originally affectionate atmosphere slowly changed from this moment. 2.5 minutes later, Lu Sinian held Mengyao and whispered, "If you feel unsatisfied after returning to his side, you can contact me anytime." Hearing this, a flash of clarity appeared in Mengyao's eyes. Her tone was filled with absolute certainty. There will be no after. After 3 stages, everything will be over. I will only belong to Shiyan. Is that so? I lowered my eyelids. Covering the depth of my eyes, the mockery in my heart gave her the answer. Pity, Mengyao. I'm not playing along anymore. 2 days before leaving, I received notice that the name change procedures had been completed. I went out and picked up the new ID card and passport with the changed name. It was already evening when I got home. Looking up, I saw Mengyao waiting at the door. She seemed to be waiting for me to return. Seeing me, her eyes flickered. Her tone carried hesitation. "Where did you go?" I used the key to open the door. My tone was very calm. "Is something wrong?" Mengyao put her hands in her pockets, pretending as if nothing was wrong. "Just that the weather forecast says there will be heavy rain tomorrow. Don't go out if it's not necessary." Clearly afraid she wouldn't be able to find me tomorrow, but she found such a clumsy excuse. I really wanted to laugh, but in the end I held it back. Nodded my head. "I know," looking at my indifferent expression. Mengyao felt inexplicably panicked in her heart. She felt that my recent state was very strange. But exactly what was wrong? She couldn't put her finger on it. The day of departure. I woke up very early, looking at the 2 p.m. flight. I threw away all my remaining things. Looking at the empty room with only 2 suitcases left, I breathed a long sigh of relief. 11 o'clock. The doorbell rang. I opened the door a crack. Found it was a few of Mengyao's best friends. Shiyan. "We know you've been exhausted these days because of Mengyao illness. Unable to lift your spirits. The doctor said a few days ago that she's been taking her medicine on time. Her condition is slowly improving. Don't worry anymore." Right. We also hope Sister Mengyao can recover her memory soon. Everyone is waiting to attend your wedding. Today happens to be your 7th anniversary. We've prepared some little surprises. I listened quietly as they recited their pre-prepared lines and asked cooperatively, "What surprises?" "You'll find out when you come with us." Before I could answer, one of their phones rang. 1 minute later, the group changed their tune. "Shiyan, something happened. The surprise might take a while. Go ahead with your work. We'll come pick you up tonight." After saying that, the group left in the rain. After watching their car disappear into the rain, I turned around and pulled down my luggage. 10 minutes later, the taxi stopped at the door. The driver helped me with my luggage and went ahead. I left the villa, passing by the car parked at the neighbor's door. I heard some strange noises coming from inside. Leaning over, I saw the sports car shaking more and more violently. My heart tightened. I hurried to the passenger side. 5 p.m. The rain that had fallen all day finally stopped. A satisfied Mengyao opened the car door, waved her hand to the outside, signaling Lu Sinian, who was still buttoning up, to get out. He curled his lip and glared at her, leaned down to demand a kiss, looking at the time on the car screen. Mengyao turned her head to avoid him. Her tone was lazy. "Stop. Sister. I just..." Mengyao interrupted him. Her tone carried an unchallengeable authority. "I told you from the very beginning. We are just playing a 2-month game. Now the time is up. It's time for you to exit." Seeing her cold demeanor, Lu Sinian could only reluctantly get out of the car. Mengyao opened the window, stepped on the gas. The lingering lust in the car was blown away by the wind. She looked at the distance on the navigation, gradually shortening. A faint smile appeared after the car stopped outside the Hilton Hotel. She didn't go to the main lobby, but went straight upstairs. Had a wild time this afternoon. Her clothes were all wrinkled. She needed to take care of it. Before entering the bathroom, she called a few of her best friends, gave a few instructions. The people on the other end giggled in unison. "Sister Mengyao, just relax. Shiyan promised us this morning that he would come. We are already on our way to pick him up." "Yeah, you should think about how to act later. The difficulty is quite high. You've been acting for 2 months. No mistakes have appeared. What are you afraid of?" "The difficulty is quite high. You've been acting for 2 months. No mistakes have appeared. What are you afraid of?" Shiyan is deeply in love with Sister Mengyao. He definitely won't be suspicious. Mengyao couldn't be bothered to listen to their chatter. Laughed and scolded them a bit. Casually tossed the phone on the sofa. Half an hour later, she came out drying her hair and heard the continuous ringing of the phone. Once she opened the screen, she saw over 20 missed calls. Her heart suddenly raced. After forcing down those panicked emotions, she pressed the answer button, calling so many times. "What happened?" "Sister Mengyao. We've been knocking on the villa door for over 10 minutes. Shiyan hasn't come out. Messages aren't replied to. The phone is also turned off. Now what should we do? Can't get in touch." Mengyao brow furrowed deeply. Her great mood was completely ruined. Maybe he fell asleep. "Go to my house. Get the spare key from my father. Go in and check." The friends agreed. Mengyao pressed her temples while putting on clean clothes. She recalled the evening's schedule in her mind. After getting ready, she took her things and headed downstairs. The hotel manager saw her and hurriedly greeted her eagerly. "Ms. Su, please look at the scene arrangement. Is there anything you're unsatisfied with? We'll adjust it immediately." Mengyao gave it a quick glance and nodded with great satisfaction. "Not bad." Having received approval, the hotel manager smiled flatteringly. "As long as you're satisfied, Ms. Fei. Actually, to restore it perfectly, we should also thank your fiancé. A few days ago, I couldn't remember the positions of some ornaments, so I invited him over to make the final decision." Fiancé. Hearing those 3 words, Mengyao's expression froze. She stared intently at the person in front of her, her voice filled with anger. Who gave you permission to contact him? This was the surprise prepared for him. Didn't you know? Seeing her angry, the manager was so scared he couldn't speak clearly. I couldn't get in touch with you, so I asked him to come and help. You didn't say it had to be a secret. I thought since you were engaged. That's why, over a month of planning went to waste. Mengyao was flushed with rage. She gripped the handle tightly. Just as she was about to explode, her best friend's call came through again. Mengyao. Sister Mengyao, this is bad. Shiyan is gone. Recalling what the manager just said, Mengyao felt her mind go blank. Go look for him. Hearing her shout, the people on the phone were on the verge of tears. It's not that we aren't looking, but everything in the villa has been cleared out. We checked the surveillance. He moved his things out this morning. He left with his suitcase at 12. We don't know where he went. Every single word exploded like a thunderclap in Mengyao's ears. She froze on the spot. Taxi. The memories she had suppressed all came rushing back. The clueless manager continued to explain incessantly. Actually, even if I hadn't called Mr. Gu, he seemed to be aware of it. He asked me many things that day. Before leaving, he gave me a box and asked me to hand it to you tonight. As he spoke, the manager handed over the item, looking at the ring box presented with both hands. Mengyao felt she couldn't breathe. She opened it with trembling hands. She immediately saw the brilliant engagement ring. Beside it, there was a pink button. She stared fixedly at the button. She suddenly remembered leaving the hotel 3 days ago. Shiyan's complaint. Be more gentle next time. You ripped the buttons off my clothes. Mengyao's blood began to run cold. She grabbed the manager by the collar. Her eyes widened, bloodshot with rage. When did this happen? 3 days ago. Mr. Gu came at 2 p.m. and didn't leave until 5 p.m. Hearing this answer, Mengyao was on the verge of a breakdown. She snatched the ring and rushed into the car like a madwoman, ran through more than 10 red lights. Racing all the way, she returned home within 10 minutes. The villa next door was brightly lit. She burst straight in. Her friends had almost turned the house upside down. Still, nothing related to Shiyan was found. Seeing her arrive, everyone quickly crowded around her. Sister Mengyao. Not even a single strand of hair was found. I really don't know where Shiyan went. I also had someone check in the list of passengers leaving Jingbei this past month. Shiyan's name wasn't there. The successive bad news sent Mengyao's heart sinking to the bottom. Seeing her arrive, everyone quickly crowded around her. Sister Mengyao. Not even a single strand of hair was found. I really don't know where Shiyan went. I also had someone check in the list of passengers leaving Jingbei this past month. Shiyan's name wasn't there. The successive bad news sent Mengyao's heart sinking to the bottom. She frantically picked up her phone to call him. But there was only the cold prompt that the phone was off. And all the messages she sent were not received. A sea of red exclamation marks, making her head spin. Her friends had never seen her so distraught. They all started comforting her in a chatter. "Sister Mengyao, pull yourself together. He only left a short while ago. It's still not too late to look for him." Right. Just track his phone's location. We'll definitely find him." Hearing these ideas, Mengyao barely regained some sanity. She quickly sent a message to her secretary, asking him to investigate. An hour later, which felt like an eternity, the secretary replied, "Ms. Su, Mr. Ye's phone was found in a trash can at the bus station. We are urgently screening the list of passengers entering the station." It wasn't exactly good news, but compared to having no clues, it was much better. Mengyao couldn't sit still. Ignoring her best friend's dissuasion, she went straight to the bus station. Upon arrival, the secretary handed over the cleaned phone. She entered the password to unlock it, only to find all social media accounts had been cleared. Contacts were mostly deleted. Only one name remained: Lu Sinian. The moment she saw this name, Mengyao broke out in a cold sweat. She braced herself for a long time, finally gathering some courage. She clicked on it. The latest one was a video sent by Lu Sinian this afternoon. It was in the car. Seeing this background, Mengyao guessed what the video content was. She didn't dare open it. "Your fiancé has a high libido." Her finger slid upwards, among the 3 or 4 videos daily, interspersed with some text. It must feel terrible pretending to be oblivious. "Gu Shiyan, can you still bear being played like this? Your fiancé has such a high libido. And you are frigid. If you two really got married, I feel you divorce in less than 3 months. Can you bear this? Do you really want to marry her? Do you really want to marry her? Scrolling from January to December. In 30 days. It's all this kind of content. Mengyao was blinded by rage. Her whole mind and heart only had one last thought: to settle the score with Lu Sinian. She drove home like a maniac. Just as she got out of the car, she saw the luggage piled at the door. Lu Sinian was directing several servants to move things. Seeing her return, he immediately clung to her. "Why are you back? Still can't bear to leave me? Then give me a kiss. And I'll stay." Looking at that handsome face so close, Mengyao couldn't take it anymore. She raised her hand and slapped him hard with all her might. With a loud slap, Lu Sinian was slapped so hard he fell heavily to the ground. His pale face turned crimson. It swelled up high. He looked up in disbelief. "Mengyao, why did you hit me?" Mengyao was too angry to speak. She threw the phone at him, a cold light flashing in her eyes. Lu Sinian picked up the phone. The moment he saw the screen, the hair on his body stood on end. He couldn't help but shudder. In an instant, countless thoughts flashed through his mind. He began to explain frantically. "I can explain. Actually, it was Gu Shiyan who added me. He already knew you were pretending to have amnesia. I just love you too much. That's why I was confused." These words to Mengyao at this moment were like adding fuel to the fire. She could no longer control her emotions. She told the bodyguards to pull him up. and gripped his throat tightly. The intense suffocation made Lu Sinian struggle desperately. His face turned from red to blue, slowly turning purple. His desperate eyes began to bulge, radiating a sense of death, just as Lu Sinian thought he was being strangled to death. A few friends who arrived late turned pale at the sight. They rushed forward to save him. Sister Mengyao, calm down. The priority right now is to find Gu Shiyan. Right. Once he's in our hands, there'll be plenty of time to settle the score. Hearing these words, Mengyao finally stopped. She cast one last glance at the man collapsed on the ground. Her voice was chillingly cold. Send him to Old Du. Keep a close eye on him. Hearing that name, the semi-conscious Lu Sinian suddenly woke up. He crawled to Mengyao's side and grabbed her leg. His voice filled with pleading. Mengyao, no. Sister Mengyao, I've been with you for 2 months. Please spare me this time. As long as you let me leave. I promise I'll never bother you again. I beg you. Mengyao remained expressionless. The friends didn't dare to persuade her. They dragged him into the car. Lu Sinian couldn't break free. He could only watch the house fade away in the rearview mirror. His desperate wails echoed in the car. The expressions of the others turned cold. If you had been obedient and stayed out of trouble, taken the money and left, you wouldn't have to worry for the rest of your life. But you were overconfident and insisted on provoking Gu Shiyan. You deserve this outcome. Let this be a lesson. Be obedient when you get to Sister Shi. Then you might save your life. Otherwise, with the methods of the people under her, you can look forward to your suffering. It was midnight when the plane landed in Melbourne. I rested for a night at the booked hotel. The next day, I took my luggage to the prearranged apartment. Over the next few days, I bought many daily necessities. The once empty room slowly became filled. While tidying up, I kept in touch with my roommate who would arrive in a few days. Gradually, I adapted to local life. Thanks to my good cooking skills, I easily joined the international student circle. I started hanging out with 2 guys who were my neighbors. They took me out to explore the streets, introduced me to nearby restaurants, and took me to local attractions. After a few days of getting to know each other, my excellent photography skills were recognized by my new friends. I even joined a local photography group. On my 10th day in Melbourne, I completed my first photography assignment, looking at the $300 that just arrived. I was quite satisfied. Early the next morning, my new roommate Zhao Yu arrived. We quickly became good buddies. As the days passed, school was about to start. The day before school started, I cooked a whole table of dishes myself and invited a few new friends over for a meal. After spending a month together, everyone had become much closer. After a few drinks, we started gossiping together. I don't know who started it, but everyone began complaining about their ex-girlfriends. Zhao Yu asked casually with a smile. Everyone's had their turn. Brother Shiyan, do you have any secrets to share with us? The smile on my face froze. When the other guys were sharing, some talked about their exes cheating. I took it as a joke at the time. But when the topic actually turned to me, I found it hard to speak. It's been so long, and when I think of the name Mengyao, I don't actually feel any sadness anymore. It's just that, in front of a group of guys 2 or 3 years younger than me, who just graduated and are naive to the world. I didn't know how to start. After all, 10 years. 7 years of dating, 7 years of love. My first love cheated just a month or two before our wedding. It sounds like an overly tragic story. I didn't want to see looks of pity or sympathy on their faces. This 10-second silence made Zhao Yu sense something unusual. He proactively changed the subject, so as not to make things difficult for me. After the meal and drinks, when the party ended, Zhao Yu took the initiative to come and apologize. Shiyan, I didn't do it on purpose just now. I'm sorry. Of course I knew it was an accident. I waved my hand with a smile. After returning to the bedroom, I opened my phone, logged into a new WeChat account registered a month ago. Several friends had been sending me many messages continuously. As I replied to them one by one. Thank you all for your concern. My good buddy replied instantly. Shiyan, why did you vanish from the face of the earth after going abroad? You've had me worried for so long. Just looking at the screen, I could imagine the tone of his complaining. I sighed softly, quickly apologized, and let him know I was safe. The two buddies chatted, talking about their recent lives. We chatted until I involuntarily fell asleep. When I woke up the next day, looking at the 99+ messages from my buddy, my eyes widened. Reading through them one by one, I realized most of them were about Mengyao. After you left, Mengyao would come to me every few days to ask about your whereabouts. Rest assured, my lips were sealed tight. I didn't reveal a single word. Luckily, you went to the station before going to the airport. She thought you took the high-speed train to leave Jingbei. She's been searching all over the country. I heard Mengyao has been drinking herself numb at bars these past few days. 2 days ago, she was sent to the hospital for gastrointestinal bleeding. What a mess. She even went to look for your parents. But you lost contact with them long ago. They must be completely unaware. Seeing these messages about Mengyao again, my heart remained calm and indifferent, looking at the clear river in the distance. My thoughts wandered. When I was 12, after my parents divorced, they each started new families. Neither wanted me. They left me with my grandmother, who lived alone. In my 17th year, grandmother passed away. I was the only one left on the household register. When I agreed to be with Mengyao at 18, she had promised that she would definitely give me a home. I believed her words. I waited for her for 7 years, only to get a ridiculous amnesia plot and the reality of cheating. Thinking back to those long 30 days, I still shudder. Fortunately, it's all in the past. I pulled open the curtains. Bright sunlight streamed in, dispelling the chill in my body. The 8 o'clock alarm went off. I changed my clothes, picked up my bag and went to school with Zhao Yu. The freshman orientation ceremony was held in the auditorium. I sat among a group of energetic young people, listening to the principal's earnest teachings. The sense of unreality that had been clouding my heart slowly dissipated. The future of Shiyan has already begun. As soon as Mengyao woke up, she smelled the strong scent of disinfectant. The effects of the alcohol were still lingering. Her head was dizzy. Her head was heavy. Her head was groggy. Her stomach felt heavy and sour. Throbbing with pain, she stared blankly at her surroundings. Her chaotic consciousness gradually returned. The Fei family members standing by saw her wake up. Although they breathed a sigh of relief, their expressions remained gloomy. Acting like your life is over for a man. How long are you going to be this idle? Several friends also crowded around. earnestly trying to persuade her. Shiyan has been gone for a month already. Not a single word of news. He's definitely doing it on purpose. Sister Mengyao. Let it go. There are plenty of men like the one you want. Why insist on hanging yourself from this one tree? These words, Mengyao had heard countless times this past month. She never took them to heart. Now she just treated them as wind in her ears. Those bloodshot eyes were vacant and lifeless. Her thin lips were tightly pressed. Only stubbornness remained on her makeup-free face. Looking at her self-destructive and decadent state, Mother Fei was furious, finally unable to hold back her temper. As the only daughter of the Fei family, carrying the future of the Fei group on her shoulders, indulging in romantic drama every day. What kind of example is that? I'm telling you for the last time. I have already decided on a groom. You must attend the wedding in 5 days. If you continue to be so unreasonable, then don't call yourself a Cairo anymore. After saying that, Mother Su didn't even look at her. She swept her sleeve and slammed the door. The room suddenly became deathly silent. Looking at her friends who didn't dare to breathe, Mengyao propped herself up to sit. Her voice was hoarse and tired. Who did that old woman pick? Han, the third son of the Zhou family. Mengyao gave a light snort. Her eyes turned cold. You go tell him. My marriage. No one can decide for me. If he's smart, he'll call off the engagement himself. Otherwise, don't blame me for not giving the Zhou family face. Just hearing Mengyao's tone, the girls knew she wouldn't let this go. But thinking of Aunt Su's rage just now, they could only brace themselves to persuade her. Sister Mengyao, in our circle, marriage is essentially a transaction. Aunt Su has already given the final ultimatum. The Zhou family isn't easy to mess with either. Maybe you should just let it go. The invitations were sent out long ago. Now the arrow is on the string. If the groom needs to change, then change him. Even if Gu Shiyan came back, his family background still wouldn't be a match. Mengyao didn't expect the friends she grew up with would say such unpleasant things. Her face suddenly turned cold. She gave them a sharp glare. If you say this again, get the hell out, all of you. My Mengyao's husband will only ever be Gu Shiyan in this life. Whether it's the Zhou family or the Zai family, I won't marry any of them. Seeing she wouldn't listen to advice, the friends didn't dare to add fuel to the fire. They could only shut up and leave quickly. Only Mengyao was left in the hospital room. She closed her eyes. Countless images flashed through her mind. Every day before leaving, I would always straighten her clothes, lightly kiss the corner of her lips. When she was sick, my tears of desperation, the hot medicinal soup delivered to her hand, the surprises I carefully prepared for anniversaries, and the promise to stay together until old age, year after. Those little things she took for granted have now become things she can only long for. looking at the message just sent by the secretary. The news that there's still no trace of me. Mengiao's scarred heart ached once again. She tightly gripped the abandoned phone, as if holding on to the last shred of hope. Sister Mengyao. We've talked to Johan. He said the marriage was arranged by his parents. He's following the elders' arrangements and won't call it off. What should we do? Hearing this result, Mengiao's heart sank to the bottom. A hint of anger flashed in her eyes. Since he doesn't know what's good for him, then we'll just see about that. Hearing her tone, the girls felt a chill in their hearts. The Zhou family is also a well-known clan in Jingbei. Sister Mengyao, what are you planning to do? Please, whatever you do, don't do anything reckless. Mengyao glanced at them. Did not answer. Changed the subject. Where is Lu Sinian? The friends had forgotten about this person. They looked at each other in confusion. I don't know. We'll have to ask the leader. As they spoke, they were about to make a call. Mengyao had anger building up with nowhere to vent. So she just stopped them, planning to go see for herself. Entered the private booth. Just as she sat down, Dunantua walked in with wine and people. His face was full of flattery as he looked at Mengyao. Miss Kyra, I've brought the person you wanted. Please take a look. As she spoke, she pushed the cowering person behind her forward. Lu Sinian was skin and bones. There were blue and purple bruises on his exposed arms and thighs. He was trembling all over, not daring to look up at the visitor at all. His voice carried deep fear. Mengyao. Haven't seen you for a month. A glamorous, handsome guy turned into this state. Truly shocked everyone in the room. Only Mengyao remained expressionless. She stared fixedly at the man before her. In those eyes filled with hatred. Speaking at the end, her voice was filled with endless regret. A few long sighs echoed in the car. If only they had known. Why did they do it back then? Recalling the words spoken in the private room 2 months ago. The group suddenly realized. The drunken jokes from that time had actually come true. The second miss of the Shen family chasing her husband. At least she could still find a trace of him. But Shiyan seemed to have vanished from the face of the earth. Disappeared without a trace. During this past month, the group of best friends used all their connections. They searched every place they could think of. Still, there was no progress. How can someone, under such a thorough search, manage to leave absolutely no trace? This perplexing puzzle continued to haunt their minds. 1 week after starting school, I slowly blended into the campus atmosphere, waking up on time for class every day, discussing academics with teachers and peers, hanging out and dining with a few friends in my spare time. If my past days were a sea with hidden undercurrents, then my current life is a deep, calm lake. I enjoyed this rare peace and tranquility, and immersed myself in it. My mind and body finally relaxed. Saturday noon, Zhao Yu and I went for a walk in the park to digest. Upon returning, I saw a barrage of WeChat messages. Several friends had simultaneously forwarded the same link to me. Clicking it, I saw the names Mengyao and Shiyan. After watching the full clip of the wedding scene, I was momentarily speechless. I could only reply with a few ellipses. My close friend followed immediately, sending a long paragraph of insults. A woman like Mengyao who cheated actually managed to be whitewashed as a romantic saint. Who is she trying to disgust? If it weren't for the fear of exposing your location, I would definitely expose this scum woman's true colors. Let everyone see how hypocritical she is. Saying things like, "I'll marry no one but you." It's honestly laughable. Did she forget how she faked amnesia to kick you out of the house? And now she says she'll definitely find you. She should just get lost. Being haunted by her is a total nightmare. Seeing these complaints, I finally remembered why I felt something was left undone this morning. Turns out today was the wedding I skipped. Thinking about this, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Zhao Yu, who was beside me, saw this and leaned in to see what was happening, and leaned in to see the excitement. "Brother Shiyan, what are you laughing at?" I waved my hand. "Nothing, it's nothing." My friend was complaining about several trending topics on Weibo. That bride from the grand wedding, right? Zhao Yu had a vague impression. He mentioned it casually. Then he opened Weibo. Refreshed. Suddenly, a new post was pushed to him. The photo of the man Mengyao confessed to has been found. He clicked the image, just as he was about to show me, when his gaze hit that youthful ID photo. He froze instantly. He stared at the photo for a long time. Then he shifted his gaze to my face. Perhaps sensing his gaze, I looked up at him. "What's wrong?" After hesitating for a moment, Zhao Yu decided to speak frankly. "Brother Shiyan, domestic media have dug up the photo of the guy the bride confessed to. He looks a bit like you. Do you know him?" The expression on my face froze. Now I understand why Mengyao made such a grand scene. It was to find my whereabouts. A strange feeling rose in my heart. Looking down at the screen Zhao Yu handed me, my brow furrowed slightly. It was my ID photo from high school. I don't know who leaked it. Although 7 or 8 years have passed, and I've changed a bit, but anyone with eyes could tell it was me. Otherwise, Zhao Yu wouldn't have asked. The room was silent for a while. After thinking it over, I finally decided to admit it. "It's me. Mengyao is my ex-girlfriend. After the breakup, I changed my name and went abroad." Suddenly hearing this gossip, Zhao Yu's eyes widened. His voice was full of shock. Since you broke up, why did she still do all this? Isn't this a huge disturbance to your current life?" I nodded slightly, feeling somewhat helpless. "It will cause some trouble. But I'm already abroad. It should be fine." Zhao Yu's expression was somewhat solemn, seeing how Xiangzi intentionally made such a scene. "Just to find you and keep pestering you." This news has caused quite a stir. Someone at school might be able to recognize you. This is also what I'm most worried about. But seeing Zhao Yu sincerely worrying for me, I forced a smile. "It's okay. She doesn't know I changed my name. She probably doesn't know about me going abroad. If all else fails, I'll just wear a mask and cover up well when I go out these few days. That's the only way." Zhao Yu nodded hesitantly. He even pulled out his own hat. "Wear it when you go out. It can also block the sun." I took it, wanting to lighten the mood. I started joking with him. "Just an ex-girlfriend. No need to be so nervous. Mengyao going crazy on such an important occasion. It's obvious she's not a normal person." Recently, I've seen a lot of news about people turning love into hate and taking revenge on ex-boyfriends or ex-husbands. Brother Shiyan, I'm truly worried that she'll get a hold of you, and something will happen. Hearing this young brother I've known for just over a month care for me so much. My heart softened. I took his hand. I was with her for 7 years. Although she did many things that wronged me. But she shouldn't be that extreme. Don't worry. Although I said this with a smile. He didn't know how to comfort me. After racking his brain, he could only come up with a few words. It will pass. Brother Shiyan, you've already stepped out of the mire. Just look forward. Looking into his determined eyes. The anxiety in my heart slowly dissipated. Yes, those unbearable 30 days are over. What else is there to worry about? The day after the wedding ended, the Mengyao family announced that all of Su Mengyao's work at the Mengyao group was suspended. And the Zhou family also announced that all 3 current projects in cooperation with the Su family were terminated. On the 50th day of my disappearance, Su Mengyao still hadn't found any trace of me. Gossip about them spread like wildfire online. But it was all discussing their past entanglements. Not a single person uncovered my whereabouts. Su Mengyao's determination to find me back was also worn away by the relentless passage of time. She became more and more afraid to return to that empty villa, and didn't want to open the messages from her secretary anymore. Even now, hearing the name Gu Shiyan, she would have a triggered outburst of temper. The Su family froze all her cards. She could no longer spend lavishly to fill her panicked heart as she did before. A few of her close friends also lost hope, all advising her to let me go, and to swallow her pride with her family. Su Mengyao had lived for 24 years. This was the first time she had suffered such a blow. She drank all day. When drunk, she would smash things, crying out my name until her voice was hoarse, repenting incessantly, but alcohol could only temporarily numb her mind. Once she woke up, what she faced was once again a bleak and gray reality. Under the daily torture, she no longer had her former spirited appearance. On New Year's Eve, Su Mengyao was drinking alone in a bar. Under the daily torture, she no longer had her former spirited appearance. On New Year's Eve, Su Mengyao was drinking alone in a bar, rejecting several calls from Father Su. Finally, she just turned off her phone. When it reached the early hours of the morning, she returned to the villa in a drunken stupor, and thought of me again, every New Year's Eve in the past, after she went home for a reunion dinner. She would come to the villa to be with me. I would prepare a table of delicious food, welcoming the new year together. The two of us snuggling on the sofa, watching the sky full of fireworks outside the window, wishing that we would be together year after. Now the fireworks burst again, but the only thing by her side was a floor full of wine bottles. Through the window, Su Mengyao gazed at the bustling scene outside. Boundless loneliness enveloped her heart. After the clock struck midnight, she turned on her phone and sent me a New Year greeting. A ding sound. The phone she placed on the table rang. She picked up my phone, clicked on the little red notification dot, and sent herself another Happy New Year. Seeing the blessings sent by this familiar avatar, the pain in Su Mengyao's heart finally found a sliver of relief. Now she could only find solace in this self-directed greeting drama. Just at her most agonizing moment, suddenly someone sent news of me. A close friend studying in Melbourne within their circle mentioned in passing over drinks that she saw someone at school who looked a lot like Lu Sinian. This news revitalized Su Mengyao completely. She immediately booked a flight to Melbourne and was about to leave, but several close friends held her back, throwing a bucket of cold water on her. Sister Mengyao. He's been found, he can't run away. The priority right now is Lu Sinian. If this isn't resolved, how could Lu Sinian ever forgive you? Those words woke her from her daydream. Su Mengyao's heart, which had just relaxed, tightened again. She suppressed the wild joy in her heart, forcing herself to calm down. Her friends were giving her suggestions on the side. As she listened, not a single one was useful. In the end, she decided to handle it herself. Su Mengyao went straight to the hospital. She planned to deal with Lu Sinian once and for all this time. 30 minutes later, looking at the dying Lu Sinian, she sent the bodyguards out. She intended to let Lu Sinian die in agony just like this. Su Mengyao stood up, calmly wiping the blood from her hands, with an air of indifference, as if the chaotic scene around her had nothing to do with her. After wiping them clean, Su Mengyao checked the time on her watch and was about to walk away. Just as she took a step, a heart-wrenching pain shot through her calf. She collapsed violently to the ground. With a distorted face, she looked to the side and saw the dying Lu Sinian had gone completely mad. He pulled out the fruit knife embedded in her body. Blood splattered, staining his skeletal face crimson. The thick smell of blood in the air stimulated his nerves. In his eyes, there was only the woman who had utterly destroyed his life. This was the last, and the only opportunity for revenge. Lu Sinian was unusually lucid. He raised the knife high and stabbed Su Mengyao recklessly. Desperate screams, one after another, echoed throughout the room, from sharp shrieks slowly fading into moans, until only the sound of labored gasping remained in her throat. Su Mengyao's pupils slowly dilated. Her clenched fists unconsciously loosened. Lu Sinian also exhausted all his strength. The weapon in his hand fell to the floor. The blood flowing from their bodies intertwined, seeping across the polished floor like a dark red river. The second hand on the wall continued to tick. Su Mengyao's consciousness gradually blurred. The unbearable pain slowly dissipated. She felt as if she had fallen into the clouds. The scene before her became fragmented, leaving only flickering black and white images. Past memories played back like a kaleidoscope in her mind. From the carefree days of childhood, to the awakening of love in her teenage years, to the unremarkable moments of the present. In those black and white scenes, only one person had color. 16-year-old me wearing a white outfit, quietly playing the piano. 18-year-old me standing by her bedside, crying uncontrollably, holding her hand tightly. 23-year-old me, with tears in my eyes, accepting that bouquet of bright red roses, agreeing to become her husband. 24-year-old me walking into the pouring rain with an umbrella, no longer able to see any expression on her face, watching that gradually blurring figure. The tight string inside Su Mengyao's body snapped, breaking into two pieces. She felt something being pulled away from her body. She was so unwilling to let it go, yet powerless to stop its disappearance. She could feel the blood beneath her skin, gradually turning ice cold. Only the string of tears falling from the corner of her eye remained warm, celebrating the new year in the height of summer for the first time. Zhao Yu and I both found it novel. Zhao's parents brought many things from home. The two of them were putting up couplets and window flowers in the living room, seeing the house filled with festive joy. After many years, I finally felt the atmosphere of the new year again. Since my grandmother passed away, I have always spent New Year's Eve alone. Although Mengyao would come to accompany me, it was usually in the evening. Before 8 o'clock, I was alone at home. All I could feel was a loneliness made intense by the festivities outside. I thought that after getting married in the new year, I could change this situation. But I didn't expect that the marriage wouldn't happen, yet I'd experience a new year with company first. Zhao's father, busy in the kitchen, brought out a plate of freshly fried meatballs and crispy pork, smilingly asking me to taste them, his voice full of care and affection. Shiyan, this is Xiaoyu's favorite dish. This new year was the warmest one I've had in years. For the next 2 New Years, I spent them all in Australia. Every year, Zhao Yu's parents would come to celebrate together. As we spent more time together, our relationship became closer and closer. The year I graduated, the Zhao family settled in Melbourne. Zhao Yu asked if I had any plans to stay. I thought about this question for a long time. My close friends back home had all started their own families and married, and I had long since lost contact with my parents. I had no real estate or assets, whether looking at social relationships or career focus. I personally leaned more towards staying. So while I looked for a job, I also began preparing my immigration documents. During this time, the Zhao family helped me a lot, allowing me to get through the hard times. During my studies, I saved a considerable amount of money thanks to my outstanding abilities. So after graduation, I opened a small photography studio. In the following 2 years, the scale of the studio continued to expand, gradually became established. After 4 years, I met the immigration requirements and applied for permanent residency. When I returned to China to handle the paperwork, I met with friends I hadn't seen in a long time. Years passed. Time flew by. Everyone no longer looked like their younger selves. But as long as we were together, we could still find that feeling of talking about everything. What everyone was most concerned about was undoubtedly my relationship status, facing everyone's passion for gossip. I behaved very candidly and generously. I dated 2 people in the past 2 years. Later, for various reasons, we broke up one after another. My current girlfriend and I got together last August. She is 2 years younger than me, but her personality is very mature. While I talked about our daily romance, I shared photos and videos with everyone, looking at the screen at the loving couple who looked so well matched. Everyone showed expressions of relief. After chatting for a while longer, I don't know who suddenly mentioned Mengyao. Hey, have you guys heard? It seems Mengyao has passed away. Hearing this, my heart trembled slightly. Over these few years, I was busy with my studies and work, and rarely asked about things back home. Occasionally, when talking about the past with Zhao Yu, I always felt that period of time was like it was shrouded in fog, not very clear to see. And the name Mengyao was also like a frozen old photograph, with a layer of yellowed antiquity. I thought she would slowly let go of that relationship, inherit the family business, and start a new life on the distant opposite shore of the ocean. But I didn't expect that she had already passed away. The atmosphere in the room turned cold for a moment. A few people were carefully observing my emotions. Seeing that I was only shocked, everyone's anxious hearts settled. They started chatting with relief. I've heard about this too. Shiyan, I wanted to tell you, but then I felt you had already moved on. so I didn't mention this sad matter. What sad matter? I heard she apparently tormented that man surnamed Lu quite a bit, and was stabbed to death in revenge by him. It can be considered reaping what she sowed. It's been so long. I can't remember what that man's name was, Lu something. Regarding this person, my only impression is only that car accident that almost destroyed me. So hearing that these two people who completely changed my life path ended up with such a conclusion, I felt a bit of melancholy in my heart. Even if I was dazed for a moment, it was only for a brief instant. After all, those were people and things from a long, long time ago. Like a draft blowing through the hall. After blowing through, there was no trace left.